Hello everybody, thank you for joining us. Today we're going to do an action pose, and this is one in which a figure is holding a sword, and or it could be a stick or a sword, but popularly this action is used for a sword. So I'm focusing on the upper body. So what we can do is we'll place the body starting with the head to the torso somewhere here, and because we need to leave some room for the legs, and not for the entirety of the legs, but just to show how we can place them in different scenarios. So what we need is we need an arc like this, because the body is tilted that way in this particular pose, and then we have the shoulders right around here. So there's the delt area. The head, it'll come around here, but we will decide how to place that as well. But the important thing is the arms and the upper body. So what we're doing we're going to either that or go higher, or you could go here. So you have those choices. I'm taking the one somewhere in the middle there. So there's our elbow, forearm, and hand. A hand, you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the bulge has to be more on this side. So that side has to be smaller than this. And then right here, just like this, just like turn it around, and you will have, but we can't have that though, so we'll just go and put the same octagon type of shape right around there next to this, somewhat like that. Now the object that is being held is right there, and of course if it's a sword, let's say it's going to come somewhere around here. For that arm, what we can do is we can have, like, there's different things we can do with this. Either we can do some foreshortening, so have a ring going like this, and that is the upper arm, or stretch it out a little more and still use foreshortening and have the elbow coming somewhere there, and shift that ring over here. So we'll decide what we do with all those different options in a second. But essentially the torso, as I said, we use that arc. It is bent at that angle and going in like this, and that is the lower body right there. And we'll decide what we do with the legs as well. So I'm going to grab myself a couple of different pens, and we will see how we can land different poses or different takes with this. So what I'm anchoring right here is the placement of the hands. There's no compromise in that. This is how they will hold the sword. And of course, depending on what model, what form we wish to use for this action, we are going to have so I've just put in there's the elbow. I've moved it in because it was too much extended. And then the other arm. So what we're just doing is you could go like this and this, put in the fingers that way, because they won't necessarily show it the same placement. The knuckles are here on this hand. Part of the thumb will probably show like that. on here the thumb will show this just that much. There's the butt of the hand showing, and I'm going to use some foreshortening right there. As I said, there's the forearm, the elbow, and that's the hand going back into the body. There's the chest. Okay, and we have put the main things out of the way if you have that much going. Of course, the sword itself is right there. I'm going to grab a different pen there. That there is the sword. Now, from this point on, we have to first work with the placement of the head. So the head is behind the sword. It could be looking that way. So you could have eyes, nose, mouth, ear around here. I think that actually looks more dynamic in my opinion. Or you could have him looking down this way, but there's the, and you could even have him looking the other way. For instance, he's ready and he just turns around to see somebody attacking from the back. It could make for a dynamic script. And then of course the body. Now I am essentially leaving it in this placement, and of course all the anatomy will shift and move accordingly. Where it's more outstretched here, it's more crunched here, and then I'll leave that for the lower body. On the lower body, the beauty of this particular action pose is that you can do so many things with this. Not just the head can be placed in different aspects. You could have this guy sitting, or let's say, he's sort of on his knees, and there's some foreshortening there with the foot placed at that angle. You could do that. You could also have him put the knee right there, and you could have foreshortening on this one and go around like this, the knee, the calf, and this knee can be on the floor in this case. So I'm actually going to use a different color on this one so that it can just stand out a little bit better. There's the foot, and they can be, the foreshortened foot can go behind this one in this case. So all those different things can be achieved with this particular pose. And if we could just put in some inks to highlight one of them just to stand out and give this little more semblance, it would be very good. Right, so I'm going to pick a light source that's just coming from above, let's say, and we're going to just put in some stark or dark inks and tones just to highlight the one pose that I choose to go with out of the three. And as you see, that I'm just putting in the inks where they belong, right in the areas that are away from the light, such as the heavier part of the pecs underneath, the part of the neck right there. Perhaps a shadow will be cast by that sword itself. And I'm going to put in a tone right along the sword, and I'm going to Alright, and then depending on what he's wearing, I mean, if he's wearing clothing, I mean, it'll be a little different. There's a shade cast right there in the serratus muscle structure. Right, and then he's wearing those slacks, just putting in tones. And my choice, I think, what I find more dynamic is I'm going to go with this for shortening element of this action pose, and have this guy put that good foot forward, put in some tones right there for the shin area, and I'm going to have the other not round that off, I apologize. So there's some slack lines there, or swag lines in this case, and there is the foreshortened foot in the background. Even you could even do without it if you just move his body a little bit, but that is my choice anyways. But of course, as I had said, that you could play around with this so much. Very instrumental pose to work with. Please do make sure that you darken all the necessary outlines as well if you have chosen one. Well, thank you very much for watching. Please do let us have your comments. Do subscribe and keep in touch. Have yourself a wonderful day.